Well, it's we got NFL Draft Day, and no NFL Draft coverage is not complete without our guy, Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network. He's in Los Angeles in the War Room. His weekly appearance brought to you by Hartley & Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area. Since 1978, honesty, fairness, integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley, 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island. Perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, catch the game. Check out Zogs on Facebook and Instagram for their fall hours and event times. I'm in the Limback Lumber Studios. You are in the NFL Network Studios in Los Angeles with this is one of the greatest backgrounds. And because you're in Los Angeles, you really do look like a movie star. I mean, you got like the fighter bomber jacket on. We've got the gold chain. I mean, what are we starring in? Like, you and Wahlberg and somebody else.
I didn't mean for it to be.
No. Like I love it. Keep it out.
Like a stainless. It's a stainless steel chain. It's not like there's no cross. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
There's no white tank top. You can't call it what it used to be called. You know. No.
All right, here we go. It's here. It's NFL Draft Day. We got to get as much in as we possibly can. Your time is valuable here on this.
Damn
day.
right.
Okay, let's get to it. What's the latest buzz right now on the draft? What do we know? What are we hearing?
Listen, if Ashton Jeanty goes to the Jaguars, I'm going to be not kicking myself. I mean, because it wasn't my information, but I'm telling you, Daniel Jeremiah was the first one to really watch Jeanty at 5. And now everybody's on it, and now it sounds like that's the way it's going to go.
Okay.
If they don't trade up to 2, I don't think they're going to. The Browns, so the Travis Hunter, Ian reported, Jaguars were looking to go up to 2. Mm-hmm. The Browns going to 5. Now, the Browns, from my understanding, were then exploring the possibility of coming back up after that. So either to 4 or 3, which is some kind of analytical, well, we could trade away this, get this. Yeah, we'd lose Travis Hunter, but we would get Abdul Carter, and we would get this kind of capital in return. In the end, I think they just stay put, and they say we're going to take a generational two-way player who they see as a wide receiver first, primarily. That's what Andrew Berry has said. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of action in the top 5. Okay. I think it could go chalk. After that, it's going to get interesting. And it'll really get interesting if Sheduer doesn't go 3, which I don't think he will. And then we see what happens, how long the slide is at that point.
And is there a chance he slides all the way out of the first round?
No, I don't think so. I think he's going, because I will say, so now what happens is you open yourself up to, let's go back to Aaron Rodgers years ago, where it was like the Green Bay Packers didn't have a pressing need, didn't come in thinking they were going to take a quarterback, and then they go, hey, we got ourselves a possible successor. So that opens up the possibility to teams, I know the Rams have been discussed as potentially taking a quarterback, even though, and that would make sense to me because it's a dome team in a warm weather climate division, right? And that's what we've been talking about with Sanders. Can he power the ball through winds and cold with some of these Northeast teams? Wouldn't have to do it. I mean, you'd still have to go on the road and win some playoff games from time to time, but ideally you'd be playing most of your games in dome conditions and in warm weather. So, I think that's where you're going to get those teams creeping up. And then you're going to bring the Giants back in play and some of the teams that maybe didn't take him, the Browns necessarily. So there's just too many teams for me that would take him at any point in the back half of the first round. I just don't see him sliding all the way out, but I can't tell you that for sure.
I was even thinking as you're just describing that as just, something he slides that far and teams are like, well, we didn't really need one, but hell, why not? I just thought of Detroit.
Interesting one. Yeah, another dome team. Now they do play cold games on the road in the NFC North, but I mean, it's because at that point, look, I know we talk about the value of these first round picks. Go back and look at some of the picks in the 20s and 31 and 32. And you start to get into coin flip territory at that point.
Right, 100%.
Right? You really do.
You do.
And so, okay, we take a quarterback. We either missed or we didn't need him or whatever. Who cares? It was the 27th pick in the draft. I'm just throwing a number out there.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, where are the Seahawks? Not that they would, but like, where are the Seahawks in this whole thing where they go, all right, we got Sam Darnold. Is he our guy for the long haul? We hope so. We don't know, right? And they committed guaranteed money for a short period of time to him. So, they're not going to. I'm just saying, as I go off the top of my head and start to list all these teams, and certainly the Steelers will come into play. I don't think the Steelers are going to take a quarterback. I think they want to move back. The draft is in Pittsburgh next year. That's not the reason that they're going to do that, but it's also a quarterback draft where, think about in terms of the Chicago Bears trading with the Carolina Panthers, right? And not thinking that they'd have the number 1 overall pick again, and it wound up being Caleb Williams. You make a trade with a team, all of a sudden there's a rash of injuries. You say, oh, we make this trade. Well, it could be somewhere in the middle of the first round. All of a sudden it winds up being one of the top 5 picks, the Seahawks with the Jamal Adams trade, right? I mean, that wound up being the same case. So, this is why the draft is fun.
All right, what's the latest chatter on 18? I mean, it's Gray Zabel's been a guy that's always has been mocked to them from a number of people. But is there anything percolating around our favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, Zabel's a guy that could go before that too, as well. I've heard his name mentioned in a couple of places. So, listen, I know you want them to go offensive line, right, Puck? I mean, that's just based on the conversation.
I want every fucking pick to be an offensive lineman. That's all I want. I don't want anything else.
And just have that be your entire offensive line.
Yes, the entire
chart
forever.
Yeah.
That's all I want. They do something where and I know and people are right if one of these great wide receivers drops to them and yes, do they need a wide? Yeah, I acknowledge that, but they take a wide receiver. I'm gonna lose it for about an hour or so, and then I can recover.
I don't think they'll take a wide receiver. I do think, though, that there's a lot of names that are being mocked defensively to go ahead of them on the edge. Some of these defensive tackles,
the safety,
they get to that point. Maybe safety. But if they get to that point, I think that then they're going to have to have a conversation because I could see Jets going offensive line. Mm-hmm. I could see Cowboys going offensive line. I could see Bears potentially going offensive line. Like all of a sudden, if there's a run on that, then you're in the edge rusher / linebacker / you're right, cornerback safety territory. You just take the best defensive player available at that point. But if you're trying to marry need and value, I think if you're the Seahawks, you want the edge rushers to go early, and then you get yourself a chance to get a good offensive line.
Ideally, he probably would like to trade down.
John?
Yeah.
Just because he's done that a bajillion times in the past. Yeah, and listen, I could give you hey, teams are, who would like to trade back and who's fielding calls. It happens all the time, right? Everybody. If you're a general manager and you haven't talked to 31 other general managers, by now you're not doing your job. So I don't buy too much into who's making these calls. And also, I could tell you I know teams in the 20s that want to come up, but it's going to be dependent on, and I don't know necessarily who it is. I can make a guess, but it's going to be dependent on, all right, this cluster of guys or one guy in particular, if he slides, they're making that call and saying, hey, if we got to get up to 18, it's going to cost this much, 17 this much, 16 this much. Once our guy, whoever it may be, drifts into that territory, bang, we know we can make the call.
Why don't you make a guess? Who is in the 20s? Who's in the 20s that'd like to move up?
We'll see.
Denver, Pittsburgh, Chargers, Packers, Vikings.
Chargers, yeah. Denver as well. But Denver, I think, is just exploring. I don't think they're going to move. I think they're going to stay put, if not trade back themselves. But they have definitely spoken to the teams in front of them, for sure.
Hey, what have you heard about Jalen Milroe? Where have you heard where his potential landing spot could be? There has been this growing sentiment out here, I should say. I think I said cinnamon. Of perhaps the
Seahawks. Could use some cinnamon in this coffee. Do we have cinnamon?
No cinnamon. I do like putting cinnamon in my coffee. Hey, there he is. Got him on the show.
Go ahead. Sorry.
What do you think? You think he late first round? There's been some thought the Seahawks would maybe trade back down, late first round,
and take Milroe.
Yeah. Or late or early second round. Are you hearing any
would
buzz?
Shock the hell out of me.
Really, would Milroe would shock you for the
Seahawks?
Yeah.
I would be very surprised. I do think that early in the second round, if you wanted to peg where he was going to go, I'd say early second round. I would. I don't think he's a first rounder. I think early second round. And look, you're bringing him in as a package guy, which initially is how. And I hate to make the comparison because Jalen Hurts to me is a much better, certainly now and before, passer.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe's not like he's a gadget type of guy. He's we got the Jalen Milroe package, which honestly, if you got that early second round and he did provide that for you for a couple of years,
sure,
that's not terrible value because we already talked about late first round's coin flip. Yeah. At that point, if you get a guy that can contribute, I just don't see him as a full-time NFL starter.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Do you think there's a quarterback that not named Ward, obviously, that goes above Sanders?
Potentially.
So like Jackson Dart. Dart would be the primary one.
Dart or Shuck. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I think Shuck's been overhyped. I do. I think he's been pumped
There's
up too
a
much.
lot of hype. I mean, if you listen to people and you didn't look at like where people have him mocked, you would think that Shuck is the number one quarterback in the class.
Yeah, well, Shuck's camp is notorious for pumping these guys up. So
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. I mean, maybe there's one team out there that would take him, and I could be wrong. Somebody made the comparison of Malik Willis and Shuck to me last. Like, remember Malik Willis was hyped up, and he wound up going third round or whatever.
Yeah.
So if that person winds up being right, I'll give him their kudos.
Hey, there's some internet rumor going around, Twitter rumor. I don't know what's real and not real anymore. I mean, I really don't. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Is there any buzz or talk of the Seahawks shopping Kenneth Walker?
I saw that as well. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it depends on if they get themselves a running back in this draft, right? I mean, you're going to see that with a few teams because there's this cluster of 5 running backs, we'll call it, that are going to go in the first 2 to 3 rounds, early 3. And those teams are now going to have guys that are going to be expendable. So I think they've had conversations. I don't think that it's anything where they're trying to push him off on anybody. But they got Charbonnet, they got him, if they wind up getting another guy, somebody's going to be odd man out, right?
But it shouldn't surprise people if they were to move him.
I guess not. No. I guess not. We'll see. I mean, I don't. Again, I was not told that they're shopping him by any stretch.
Okay, but at least you've heard it. It's not some rumor that's been coming out of.
We've heard everything.
Well, I don't know. I don't mean that stuff.
I know, but I don't mean it to sound like we know everything. What I'm saying is there's just so much time between free agency and the draft, and so many players involved that by now it's like you've heard everything. You don't know what's true and what's not true. To me, I think the interesting position to watch, and there's some receivers, George Pickens, obviously, but tight end. I think tight ends could be interesting because you've got Dallas Goedert, you've got Mark Andrews, veterans that are available and have been available to teams.
Oh, for trade.
And for trade, yeah. And now you're going to see those teams potentially hit or not hit on tight ends in the draft. From my understanding, this is like day 2 of, X team was like the Colts. Everybody's mocking the Colts. Not everybody, but a lot of people are mocking the Colts to take a tight end. If they don't, and they've been in on Goddard before, maybe they trade for Goddard at that point. So I think day 2 is what we're looking at for those guys.
Where are we at with Cousins and Aaron Rodgers?
So Rodgers is it's all speculation with him. It's not all speculation. It's mostly speculation. I have yet to be caught in his crosshairs, where he's seen a report from me and been like, that is completely and utterly wrong, even though what he's done before with those is, they've been correct. I just get the sense as this goes on that he just wants to kind of wait and see if somebody gets hurt. If somebody has a need later, if the Vikings go, you know what? All right. Let's talk now. We're not so sure. So I don't think he's going to wind up in Pittsburgh. I think Kirk Cousins could wind up in Pittsburgh before Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Oh, interesting.
Because he's not committing. They have to make a decision here at some point. Somebody's going to make a move on Cousins. So and Ian's like, we need to get him with a team. I'm tired of talking about him. I go, no, I'd rather him be the guy that every time a quarterback stubs the toe during the season.
I agree.
They need to bring in Aaron Rodgers, which we did with Tom Brady. Not we, I didn't do that. We did with Tom Brady a couple of years ago. And I was like, did you guys watch Brady's last year with the Buccaneers? He's done. Shot completely. Aaron Rodgers is not shot to me. And in the right situation, it could be interesting, and it could be a nice little, hey, quarterback goes down. This team now still in playoff contention with Aaron Rodgers there.
Hey, do you think there's a last thing? You think there's any type of Penix pick this year? Wow, surprise.
And maybe it's, I mean, as in a quarterback with a team that already has one, or just anything?
Not necessarily that, but along those lines.
No, because any other position really you could sell it. Like it's funny when I was talking to Giants folks on a podcast, Bob Papa's podcast, and he's the play-by-play guy.
Yeah, the eating and drinking one.
Yes, right. I just hate to mention other podcasts. I feel like
why? It's great. I just saw a clip for it. I just saw a clip for it today. He was interviewing someone. And he was drinking wine and making homemade pizza. I'm like, what a great idea.
There you go.
I'm going to steal it.
Yeah, exactly. And not as a theme, just because you want to eat during your show.
Yeah, right.
We were talking about Abdul Carter.
Just a surprise. Yeah.
We were talking about Abdul Carter at the time, and he's like, well, but you got Brian Burns and Thibodeau. So what? Get another one. Like that's what I'm saying is it'd have to be a quarterback for that one, and it would have to be Sanders And, maybe like I painted the Rams scenario and you go, whoa, they got Matthew Stafford. And the Rams could easily be like, if he sits for another 3 years, we're totally fine with it, something like that. So it would have to be him. And I can't even off the top of my head think of other teams that, would potentially be in that. But it would have, and it's a Rodgers Favre type scenario. So we'll see. I want him to slide. I don't want the kid to slide. I want everything.
You want the drama.
You want the drama. It's going to be.
Of course.
You're not going to be able to look away.
All right. What do we got? What do we got planned for today? What's your schedule there on the NFL Network?
Got makeup in 10 minutes, which I'm going to have a hat line that I got to get rid of now. So I'll take this off for the rest of the interview. We got makeup and then 10 a.m. Pacific time, since I'm on Pacific time now. 10 a.m. to 1 Pacific. NFL Draft Kickoff presented by Lexus. I think we're Lexus though.
I would figure it out. Hey, we're going to be.
Lexus just got a free drop there.
We're going to be going head to head at 10. I'm curious to see who gets better ratings.
Oh, screw you, man! I can't believe I contributed to this. 10 to 1 today and tomorrow as well. If you're going at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. And then check me out Saturday morning when you're off. Hopefully you'll be awake. I think that's going to be 7 to 9 Pacific time Saturday morning before the draft.
All right, we'll be watching, Mike. Thanks as always, and have fun at the draft. Appreciate it.
All right, pal. You got it.